Okay. Okay. So I haven't been able to prepare another episode of the erotic tales of Kenji and Rieko, I'm afraid, because I've been quite busy this week doing my exam. So instead, we will do a bit of free practice, I think. So I will, as much as possible, I would like us to try and use the grammar and the vocabulary that we have been studying for the last 25 weeks. It's a half a year next week, guys. Or is it this week already?
I think 26 or 27.
Yeah, I think we just did 26, didn't we?
26, yeah.
We did it. Wow. So we've done half a year. Congratulations.
Another reason to drink.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Feels like only one session.
So we'll do a mix, I think, of me saying something in English and you translating to Japanese, and then me speaking. Well, perhaps me and Jock can share this, and maybe Andre as well, share speaking some Japanese and you guys translating into Anglais. So let's start with this one. This evening, I was instructed how to cook erbazone. I was taught how to cook erbazone by Carlo Sapino. Prego, tutti persone. So, okay. Dozo, somebody. What is the grammatical form that I am going to be using, thinking about in this sentence first?
The passive.
Passive form. So I could use a passive form, but I could also use a different type as well, couldn't I?
Last time.
Yoni, tameni.
Tamini, yep, good. I could do this. But do you remember that we did this te kuremashita, te itarakimashita, te moraimashita?
Ah, yes.
So I could use any of these really. I could use tamini, passive form, or the verb plus the kuremashita, itarakimashita, moraimashita.
Oshiete moraimashita.
Oshiete moraimashita. Yeah, exactly. I could use this form, couldn't I? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So let's see. And Tom, let's start with you, Tom. So can you make the sentence? I was taught how
Could
to
you just write the sentence on the whiteboard? Because I already forgot the sentence completely. I think I can translate it.
Yeah, okay, okay. Let's do this then. Let's do this way. This evening, I was taught how to make erbazone by Carlo Sapino.
So
I think double zeta and one N.
Grazie, grazie, grazie. It's
but then
important
I
get
want
these
to know
right.
what that is.
Erbazone?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like this. Just a second. Okay. How do I copy image? Can I send this to you? Oh, maybe I can post it on the whiteboard, actually. Let's see. Maybe. It might not work. Just a second. No. Oh, maybe I should just share the screen. Just a second. Hello, Taya.
Hi.
It's this.
Ooh, that looks amazing.
Mostly vegetarian. Mostly
Yum.
vegetarian. Except for the pig fat and the lard that you have to use in it. apart from that, it's completely vegetarian. Even vegan, you might say. Okay. Hey,
so I would say, konban erbazone ga Carlo Sapino ni oshiramashita.
Okay, just a second. Konban.
Konban erbazone ga Carlo.
Erbazone ga. Oops, not like this.
Kono konban.
Konban.
Oh, sorry. Beg pardon.
The con is already kono, Kim. Or I think the con in Konban is kono.
You're correct. Yes. Exactly.
hebben zeがカロサピノに
はい。
押し上げました。
教えられました。Good. られました。
That would be the passive
そ
form.
れが Okay, so this is pretty good, except this is saying this evening I was taught Orbazone, but not how to make Orbazone. So how would I say how to make Orbazone?
I need a skeru in it.
So skuru is to make.
Sku.
Yeah.
But then where to put it? I need a subclause. Or I would make a subclause.
Correct. Good. Where would you start, Tom?
I was only, and then the infinitive skuru.
Excellent. So Orbazone, and what's the particle?
Oh, skuru.
Good.
Because, yeah.
Or tsukuru.
Tsukuru.
Mhm.
And then got to mark the subject.
Orbazone tsukuru ga. So this still only says Carlos Apino taught me make Orbazone.
How to, I need the kata form, so
Yes. Good.
how to make the tsukukata? Tsukata.
Nearly. Go to the mass form first.
Tsukurikata.
Tsukurikata. Good.
今晩、アルバゾネを作り方がカルロス・ピノに教えられました。
Nasuka-san, did you think you were muted? It's okay.
I'm sorry.
No, not at all. It was completely correct. Good. Well done. Excellent. Konban Orbazone. So, Tom, Orbazone o tsukurikata? Or?
I don't know how to do it with the kata, but I would now. I doubt with o and ga.
So just to sort of help a little bit. Oops. All right. Kata. This is actually Orbazone not tsukurikata. So this is the method of making of Orbazone.
Yeah, because it's a how-to form.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Cool. Good. Okay, so that's the passive form. Jock, would you like to help me make the one that you said, the form you said?
Well, Carlos Saponi ni oshete morata.
Good. Yeah. Carlos Pino ni oshi. So let's put this in as well. Orbazone. Zone no.
Tsukurikata.
Tsukurikata. O oshiete
moraimashita.
Excellent. Yes, good. So even though this is, I'll be right back, guys. I've just got to turn off the oven from the Orbazone. Forse 5 minuti, Margherita. So even though it's Carlos Apino ni is marking the origin when we are using moraimashita. So although we normally use ni to mark the direction we are going in this case we're using ni to say moraimashita, so it's coming from Carlos Apino. Good. And there was another version of this, wasn't there? Patrick, I think you said tameni. So how would you fit that into the sentence?
今晩、Orbazoneを作るために
Good.
Carlos Sampino が I would also use 教えてもらいました.
So probably here, then we would use ni, wouldn't we?
に教えてもらいました。
Exactly. 教えてもらいました。を作るために、カルスピーノに、yeah, exactly. So in order to make arpazone, I was taught by Carlos Pino. Perfetto. You're looking confused, Annika. Is that because you're permanently confused, or?
Always.
Okay, so Annika, which part of this do you find difficult?
The thing with the particles. I'm a bit confused about all the rules, when to take which particle in which constellation of a sentence. So
Just
if you use
blindfold
passive-
yourself. Just blindfold yourself and shoot from the hip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like pinning the tail on the donkey.
Then you should certainly come to my lesson this week.
Okay,
yeah,
I
actually,
will.
yeah. So Tom is going to do a deep dive this week, so this is a good time to kind of to come to this. Yeah. Is there any particular one which you find difficult, Annika, or is it just generally using the way to use particles?
I stagnate in a. I'm not evolving my Japanese. I stopped somewhere, and I'm not coming after with all these grammatical things.
Okay.
So yeah, I try my best, but yeah.
Okay. So let me sort of help to iron out some of the wrinkles in this. If you have problems with the passive form, this, for example, this oshierarimashita, there are very different rules to making a sentence when you use the passive form for when we normally make active sentences. So I would suggest if this particular one here confuses you, then you need to listen to, or need to look at or listen to the lesson on the passive form, because it's almost completely opposite to the way that we normally make sentences. So
this one is most clearest.
Is it? Oh, good. Okay. Right. How weird. So let's look at this one then. Konban karasapi no tsukurikata. Okay. So I think, let me just, Toby said this helps a lot. Up to there. So these square brackets are supposed to make a kind of subclause, a sub-sentence within the sentence. So if we are being taught, or somebody's doing something for us, then we can use things like moraimashita, or what other ways can we say I received in Japanese?
Kuremashita.
Okay, and even more polite.
Itadakimashita.
Excellent. Itadakimashita. Anything else?
Kudaru?
Exactly. Kudasaimashita. Yes.
Kudasaimashita.
Yeah, good. There's probably, I'm sure there's probably one or two more, but these are the main ones. So let's just keep this simple though. So for these circumstances where we're using a received, so this means passed down to me, then we can mark the person or the thing that it comes from with ni. If it makes it easier though, instead of using ni, you can use kara, which means from. Yeah. So this is probably easier to understand now. From Carlos Pino, arpazone no tsukurikata. Now, why not?
Could I ask you what I think about this?
Go ahead,
This is like saying that arpazone owns what you're making.
Correct. Yes, it's
a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is the recipe or the method of making of arpazone. So, as you said, Tobe, it's arpazone's recipe. Is this part? Yeah, that's why it's not in this case. What would be the problem of using or?
We're not actually doing something to the arpazone. So that's why we can't use o.
Yeah, there's another. You're right. There is another. I mean, obrazone otsukuru. There is a kind of point here, for example, where if I was to make this sub clause, then obrazone otsukuri something. But what would be the problem with the sentence if I used or?
2 O's, it's a bit weird.
Exactly. Yeah, we've got 2 O's in the same subclause. That makes problems for us.
You could make it no oshierikata, and then
not
tsukuru no oshierikata.
But he's not teaching me the way of teaching.
Yeah, that's true.
He's only teaching me the way to make it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or you could change to obrazone no skuru hoho.
Yeah. So skuru hoho is also hoho, meaning method. Yeah. So this makes it a little subclause, subclause here, which becomes a modifier for hoho. Hoho means method, guys. If you are not sure, this means method. It's not what Santa Claus says at Christmas time only.
Oh.
Only if he's a very small Santa Claus, then it's a subclause.
Oh, that's
Saint Nicholas. No.
Not skurikata. Okay, so oshiete. So this is then, I can take this away. Obrazone not skurikata o oshiete moraimashita. So Annika, does that make sense for this one? Oops, for the second one. Why we're doing this? Okay, how about this one? So actually, this one is pretty conventional. This is again a little subclause here. Obrazone otsukuru, the making of obrazone. Tameni, and we always kind of finish tameni, tame, for the benefit of, with ni. And then this is kind of a comma, really here. So for the purpose of making obrazone, kalosopino, and then again we've got the marker for moraimashita, the origin marker of moraimashita. But again, this could be kara, to say from. So this is the slight difficulty with ageru, to give, and morao. So ageru, to give, you mark the person who's going to get it, the person you're sending it to, with ni. So for example, Carlo ga Andy ni oshiete agimashita. You could say this if you knew the two of us pretty well, if you knew that me and Carlos were quite close friends. So this is marking me as the destination for the teaching, the giving of the teaching to me. Or I could say Carlo ni Andy ga oshiete moraimashita. So now, because this means receiving, this moraimashita, I'm now marking the origin of the favor by saying karo ni. As I said before, this could be, if you think of this as karo kara, to say from karo, Andy ga oshiete moraimashita. So I'm the subject of this sentence in this case. This moraimashita, this verb, is aimed as me as the object, as the subject. But in this sentence, Carlo is the subject, and he's being marked to say he gave Andy this teaching. Does that help, Annika?
Yeah.
Are you 100% comprehending now?
80.
80 is better than nothing.
Andy, can I ask?
Sure, of course, yeah.
When we were doing the things the other day for the, I don't know, the teacher who was given a bottle of wine, I found in my dictionary ataeru.
Yes.
How does that fit in with the ageru, morale, itadaku?
So I won't claim to know this comprehensively, but I know that if you want to be very neutral about the giving, or even to suggest that it's given down to somebody, for example, you feeding a dog. I mean, there's no way that you could put you wouldn't write Jog Sensei ga inu ni meshi o agemashita, for example. This doesn't make sense for human. So in this case, you'd use ataeru to
Wouldn't you use yaru though?
You can use yaru and ataeru are both, in this case, are both the same.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, but it just although yaru is sometimes also used to mean to do, like suru, ataeru only means to give, but only to the degree of to give a dog or.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I'm also pretty sure that you can use it to create some neutrality if two human parties are giving or doing something to one another. But to be sure, I've never really used it that much, so I'm not confident in teaching it. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask something, Andy-san?
Of course, yeah, sure.
The questions are covered from the classmates.
Oh, go ahead.
I just want to ask for the grammatical form of the second and third one, the te moraimashita. I don't know if the subclause was put there on purpose, like the oshie subclause, and then te moraimashita, because I haven't reached that yet, and I have to find it, but I don't know what it is. Like, what am I looking for? What is the grammatical form?
So I'm not actually sure how you would title this grammatical form in English, to be honest.
Because the first and the third, they have like the third is a tameni and the first is a passive. So what is the second one?
So I'm just being served some champagne. Just a second. Thank you. Now that I'm Kyoshi, I get special butler service.
Cheers.
Doesn't work for me.
I'll send it around later. It's okay. Yeah, exactly. But I think we only did this te moraimashita like 2 weeks ago, didn't we, guys? So Effie, it is. Let me just find it.
Yeah, it's recent.
Yeah, I think it was lesson 24, maybe. But let me point you towards the slide. Just a second. It is. It's at the moment. It might change though. It's slide 46 in the AJC session slides. Do you have these sessions?
Me?
Yeah.
No, because I think I have just the Tom's PDF thing, but this covers only half of the lessons, I think, and that's what I mostly read. So then I'm trying to catch up on the videos.
So I'll send you the link now.
Would this be the causative form?
Is it?
No, it's not. It's not causative form. Is that lesson 25 then, Tobe? Oh, we haven't done causative yet, have we? Sorry, causative is waiting for all you guys to do your homework and present.
But there is a causative form in his PDF.
Yeah. But I haven't taught it yet.
Slide 46. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there because I was going to teach it next week, but next week I've asked Tom to do his homework assignment for us. So causative is coming. I've made the slide, but you have to wait for the teaching. Yeah.
So I can confirm Ageru and Morao and all the others were lesson 24.
24, thank you.
Yeah.
So if you look at 24 then, it's, to be honest, it's really simple. In fact, do you want to have a quick look at this now? Because probably a few.
I am, but I don't want to stall the others. So I am going to, sorry.
If you think there's some sort of plan for this evening, Effie, then you it doesn't quite work like that. We don't have plans. So it's really only to say, I'll just get rid of that for a second. It's this bit, this last line here. If you say verb te in the te form and make it ageru, it means to do something for somebody else. And if you do te kureru or moraimasu or itadakimasu, it means that you are the recipient of this verb for you, like somebody reading you a story. Yeah. So the good example is sore o katte agimasu. I will buy that for you. This evening is completely free this evening, guys. So if you got anything you want to ask, just ask, because I don't have a lesson plan. I mean, it's too late in the champagne bottle to have a lesson plan, I think.
Thank you.
That's okay. But lesson 24 then, right, Piotr?
Yeah, correct. And hi, Roberto.
Co?
Roberto, jest w obrazie.
Roberto.
Ciao, Roberto.
Ciao, Roberto. Ciao. Come stai? Would you like some arabazone? A presto, Roberto.
Sì, sì. Ciao, sì, sì, a prestissimo.
Sì. Maybe next year, I hope. But Effie, I've forwarded you the link to the slides.
Yes.
So it's completely free access. You can see the slides here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions on the one we just did, guys? Taya, are you missing the story of Kenji and Rieko?
No, I came late, so I'm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You looked a bit sad. I thought maybe you were missing.
No.
I mean, we could freestyle it if you want, but it might get messy.
Sure.
Probably not. Not with Andre here. It will definitely get kind of slightly
interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Kim, sorry, you were going to ask a question earlier, but I didn't get round to you.
Yes, but I think I already heard the answer by Patrick, because in the last sentence you could also use the passive form after the tamini.
So
after tamini, you can also use Carlo Sapino ni oshierare mashita.
Yeah, exactly. So this doesn't have to be oshiete moraimashita. This could exactly be, as you said, oshierare. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it, from my perspective as the recipient, it sounds kind of just to sort of help develop our contextual speaking. It sounds kind of what's the word? Not grateful. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So there's a difference.
Ungrateful. Yeah. To say oshieranimashita, it sounds like I'm like it sounds a little bit like I'm the victim of being taught something. Not quite that bad, but to say oshiete moraimashita expresses gratitude for having that. So that's the difference between just using purely the passive form and using something like te moraimashita. By saying te moraimashita, this A sets the context, who is doing it, who is receiving it, and B, it kind of expresses gratitude to say moraimashita, itarakimashita, kurimashita.
Now it's confusing, Andy, because in the slides we had the example when we were waiting for the sensei, I think, and then we used the passive form to just make it a little bit more polite than just the present tense.
But this is using the sentence structure as the standard sentence structure. It's only changing the verb into the passive form. So, for example, let's look at this, Tom, because it's likely that maybe I've confused more than just you. Just a second.
Could you take first the example from the slides?
Sure.
I think it was on it with the knee sensor.
Was that the passive side?
Passive form, yeah, the passive side. You had an example, I think, when we want to make the sentence a little bit more polite, we could use the passive form.
So it was sensei ga ashita Tokyo ni ikaremasu ka?
Yes, when he was going to Tokyo.
Right. Sensei ga ashita Tokyo ni ikaremasu ka? Right. Let's just look at this then. Oops. Sensei ga ashita Tokyo ni ikaremasu ka? Okay, so in this sentence, only the verb is in the passive form. The rest of the sentence is just in the normal active verb form. So, for example, Tokyo ni, this just means the destination of Tokyo, and sensei ga, this is him as the subject of the sentence. So there isn't really. Let's do a different one actually, Tom. Sensei ga. Oops, sorry. Sensei ga sushi o taberaremasu ka? Okay. So this is different to sensei ga sushi ga taberaremasu ka? And just to be extra confusion, sensei ni sushi ga taberaremasu ka? Sorry, Annika. All of these mean something different, and it's only through the particles that they're different. Even though the verb is the same, the passive form of the verb, and the rest of the sentence is the same. This means, Sensei, will you honorably eat the sushi? Sorry, let me just move this around a little bit. And this says, Sensei, are you able to eat sushi? And this one says, will Sensei, will the sushi be eaten by Sensei?
How does that first one work?
By just turning the verb. This basically means this.
So it's not passive. It's not the capability form. It's just a more polite form of taber.
Exactly. Yeah. All you have to do is turn the verb that's applied to the person you're trying to be polite to into the passive form of the verb. So if I say taberaremasu ka, this means with politeness, will you eat the sushi?
And then we leave all the particles the same as we would in the regular form of will you eat sushi.
Yes.
So that was my confusion because the particles.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. This is the. This is where particles are important, guys. After I said, in conversation you can drop all the particles, but actually they're quite important, really, to make this difference between these sentences. Actually, guys, let me ask you first. This is the most important sentence here, this second one. Do you understand what this is saying? Why it's constructed this way?
Would you not use y instead of
ka? Yeah, quite right. Yeah, although it would
yes
be
and no.
Yeah, yes and no. Yeah, it wouldn't be incorrect to say ga, but wa would make it easy to understand at least. Yeah. But this is the most basic sentence that we've learned so far. This is the ability, the potential form. So you remember that we had tsukao, to use, becomes tsukaeru for the group 1 verbs, and then taberu for the ability to eat becomes taberareru. Yeah. So here you hopefully remember that the potential for group 2 verbs, the potential form, the taberaru, I can eat, is exactly the same as the passive form. Yeah, exactly the same. And this applies also to kuru, the group 3 verb, to mean to come. This also is koraremasu, and it doesn't matter if you're asking the ability, are you able to come, to honorably, would you like to, will you come? This is also koraremasu ka?
It basically also applies to the group 1 R, the ru line, right?
The group, sorry, Piotr, can you give me an example?
Yeah, so kiru becomes kiraremasu. kirareru.
In the potential form?
So both, no?
No, it's kiremasu.
Oh no, sorry.
No,
form. Yes, of course. Sorry. Yeah.
But it's kiraremasu in the passive form. Yeah. Yeah. So it's only group 2 and kuru in group 3 that has this this sameness between the potential form and the passive form. Is anybody confused? Can you put your hands up if you're confused? Because it would be a good time to kind of do a deeper dive on this, really. Who? Let me ask again. Who gets this? Who understands this completely so far?
I understand this roughly,
okay.
But I'm still a little bit confused on how to separate the different types of the passive form and the potential form when you use the group 2 verbs.
Right. Ooh. Let me take a moment to look at this then. Can everybody see this white slide at the moment? Or is any of the text disappearing?
No.
Okay. Actually, let's get rid of the Urbazone stuff because we're now going on to basics. So let me just find the slide because it actually was on the slide. There we are. So how to tell the difference between the passive form and the potential form. So I could eat, I'm looking at the right side of this slide, guys. Can you see it in the green box? Is it visible to everybody? Okay. I could eat sushi, or the sushi was eaten by me. Both use taberaremasu, but watashi wa sushi ga taberaremashita. So we're marking the topic of the conversation, me. So I'm talking about me in this sentence. That's the most important thing, that I or whoever is, the focus is on them. This is from their perspective. Watashi wa sushi ga taberaremashita. I could eat sushi. But in sentence B, in the passive sense, even though I've written watashi first, the subject of this sentence is the sushi, because I've got sushi ga taberaremashita. And then I make it clear that this is a passive sentence by saying the agency of the passive. Who ate the sushi? Watashi. So it's only the difference between these two particles that spells the difference between it being a statement of ability and a statement of an event, a passive event that took place.
Okay, so we have the subject first in the sentence, and if that would be marked by ni, we have the agency first, and then it would be the passive form.
Yes. Yeah, so this, let me just grab this sentence out a second. Watashi wa sushi ga taberaremashita. Let me stick this on the slide a sec. Just a second, guys. Watashi wa sushi ga taberaremashita. So this is the ability statement. I could eat sushi. Watashi ni sushi ga taberaremashita. Taberaremashita. This is the passive statement. Now, I guess the thing is, guys, that this sentence here, the passive statement, let me make it easy for you. This sentence now doesn't make any difference if I say sushi ga or sushi wa. So I can now put sushi as being the main topic of the sentence. Let's focus on sushi in the second sentence. The sushi was eaten by me.
Can I ask something?
Of course.
In that case, but anyway, when we put wa, isn't it always the subject? But if you say taberaremashita for the sushi wa, so it means that isn't that implied that it's watashi wa? Why would we change the sushi from ga to wa in that case? It'd still be the same.
There's no reason to change it, really. It's just it might be this initial sentence, the watashi wa, and then watashi. Sorry, let me just turn it. I'm just going to turn it back to the way it was. Effie, just a second. So the reason why I didn't have wa here is because the kind of rule is that if you use wa, it should go right at the beginning of the sentence. However, in the passive form, I can still write sushi ga and still put it in the middle of the sentence. I can say watashi ni sushi ga taberaremashita and not actually announce whether sushi is the main topic or is only the subject. I'm now going to drop back to, I've just gone back to the beginners class for a second and try to kind of categorize this. So this is very much to do with semantics now, because it really depends on how you translate Japanese grammar into English grammar. So I said to the beginners class, arbitrarily, let's say that the topic, the main focus of the sentence is going to be marked with wa, and the subject is going to be marked with ga. Now, what's the difference in English grammar between topic and subject? Anybody? Somebody must know.
Probably, but I'm not sure what you mean.
To be honest, I don't think there is a difference, to be honest. In everyday speak, if you speak to an English language specialist, they might actually say this is the difference. But generally, to the general population, there is no difference between the topic and the subject. So arbitrarily, we can say, right, for the thing that we're going to mark for the overall context of the sentence, the most important, significant description of the sentence, we'll mark that with wa. And for any sub-subject of the sentence, we'll mark that with ga. So I've just arbitrarily said to the beginners class, for the main theme, the main thing that you're shining the light on, the main thing you're focusing on, we'll call that the topic, and we'll call it wa. For any other subjects within the sentence, they're going to be sub-subjects, not as important as the main subject. We'll mark them with ga, and we'll call them subject. That's the only reason why we might be getting a little bit confused with some of this. But what's important to, I guess what's important to understand is that, for example, in the passive statement here, doesn't really matter if I say sushi ga or sushi wa. There is no other topic in this. There's the only topic, the only subject is sushi. Even I am not a subject in this. I'm an agency because it's a passive sentence. Anybody still confused? Jock, are you?
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
to be
confused.
Okay, so I mean, to be honest, providing we're using these in the right way, providing we're using the right particles, we don't need to worry too much about the wa or the ga. It's just I don't want to be breaking the rules that we kind of adopted early on, which was subject, or let's call it topic. Let's use the right thing. Topic wa is at the beginning of the sentence, and then there's blah blah blah, all this other information that can go in the middle, and then we have the verb or the state at the end. That's our general sentence structure for Japanese, isn't it?
Mm.
So that's why I didn't leave this as watashi wa, sorry, sushi wa, and I said sushika, just to keep this rule.
Could you go back to the previous slide, please, Andy?
Sure. This passive, yeah, just a second. This one, just a second, not that one, but this one.
That one, yeah, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
I mean, in both of these cases on the right in this green box, the thing that is able to be eaten and the thing which is being subjected to a passive verb, this doesn't change, as you can see. This is both ga. The only difference between sentence A and sentence B is in sentence A, the spotlight is on me. This sentence is a description of my ability to eat sushi. That's all. That's the whole thing. It's saying Andy is able to eat sushi. Sentence B is saying the sushi. This is the most important. We're worried about who stole the sushi.
Yeah.
And it's saying Andy was the criminal. Andy was the one who ate the sushi. The sushi was eaten by Andy. By Andy. Yeah, that's the only difference in the sentence, really.
Okay. That helps. Thank you.
Okay, Kim, you're still looking a little bit confused, are you? Or is that just your general disposition?
I was trying to translate the sentences on the left side. The Wayne-san ga watashi no. I was confused. I was a little confused there with the watashi no sushi, but then I realized no, that's your sushi, or no, my sushi.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So
I figured that out there.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably a slightly more easy way to look at this, isn't it? That again, the difference here. This is just a basic direct sentence. In the blue, where I'm pointing, guys, Wayne-san ga watashi no sushi o tabemashita. This is the common direct sentence that we are used to making. So this could be Wayne-san wa also, wa or ga. It doesn't really matter in this case. It doesn't really matter. He's at the front. He's the subject or the topic of the conversation. And it's saying he ate my sushi, nothing more than this. But now in the second sentence, in the yellow one, actually my sushi is the subject. It's been marked with ga. Wayne has been, I'm pointing the finger at Wayne and saying, my sushi was stolen by Wayne, and I'm now pointing at Wayne on my screen. Okay. Yeah. Is that okay, guys?
Yes.
Is anybody still not sure? Because
well, I can understand. I can follow the explanation if you are telling it, but to do it myself, that's horrible.
Yeah. What I would suggest is, in the passive form, if you're making a passive sentence, don't worry if you use wa or ga. It doesn't make much difference, really, because in any case, the spotlight is being aimed on the topic / subject, the thing which is being passively affected by the verb in the sentence. The most important thing to remember is that the person who did this thing, the stealing,
wicked deed,
the passive
deed, yeah, exactly, is marked with ni. That's the rule that's most important, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, guys, how often do I use the passive form in conversation? Not a lot, to be honest. Only if something is done to me. So if somebody does something for me, then I would use the sentence form that Jock said, which was te itarakimashita, te moraimashita, te kurimashita. I don't do anything else because it sounds silly saying I was taught by so and so when you're missing an opportunity to be polite, and you should just say oshiete itarakimashita, oshiete moraimashita. The only time that I use passive form is to say my wallet was stolen, or somebody crashed into my car. So it's when I'm the kind of victim of a circumstance that I would use the passive form. There isn't really any other need to use the passive form, because the alternative in those cases where somebody does something to you, it's difficult to form the sentence For example, if I wanted to, so say for example, somebody stole my wallet. Somebody stole my wallet. I could say, for somebody, I would use dareka. I could say, dareka ga watashi no zaifu o torimashita. Somebody took my wallet. This is literally what this means. Somebody took my wallet. This would be completely understood. You could use this. You could use this to say somebody stole my wallet. It's just that you guys know this sentence structure already. And we're on lesson 20, 24, 25, 26. Why not learn a different sentence structure, which means, which implies something happened to you? This is the idea of having the passive form. So I wouldn't lose sleep about it. Hopefully there won't be that many circumstances when something gets done to you, but if you just remember to mark the agency, the thief or the person who's driving the bus into the line full of nuns, mark them with ni, then that should see you straight. Yeah. Piotr, dozo.
If you go back to the whiteboard, there was a sentence where we could choose between watashi wa and watashi ga, and then still used sushi ga.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How does the double ga work? What is everything after the comma subclause?
Just a second. So
was the middle one?
Ah, here.
Sensei, and you first wrote sensei ga sushi ga taberaremasu ka?
Oh, can you just open the dishwasher, please? Oh, dishwasher. Yes, please. Thank you. Sorry, Piotr. Domestic responsibilities.
Of course. You first wrote sensei ga sushi ga taberaremasu ka?
Yes.
And I was wondering, because that would mean we have two subjects in the sentence, or one of the two is a subclause to the other.
Yeah. So in this case here, this would be probably more correct to say sushi. Sorry, not sushi. I get sensei and sushi mixed up, which can be very embarrassing at the sayonara party when you're trying to pick up Matsuoka sensei with a pair of hashi. It would be probably better to say sensei wa. But let's just understand what is actually being said here. Sushi ga taberaremasu. Now, do you remember when we did this potential form, I explained what this actually means? Why it's ga?
Because the sushi is the one being able to be eaten.
Right, yes. It means, is sushi edible for you? For you. So this is, so sensei one in this case means for you, is sushi eatable? Yeah, or edible as we would say in English, of course. Yeah.
So the sushi ga taberaremasu is a subclause in this sentence then? Or can be understood to be? Or?
Yes, I think so. That's probably the best way of looking at it, is to say, yeah. Although there's not much of a sentence left if you take that subclause out, to be honest. It's just that you're saying, as for you, is sushi edible?
Well, as for you would be the sensei wa.
Yes, exactly. So, but that's the difference between this ga and this ga. Is it sushi ga? Sorry, still getting sushi and senseis mixed up. In this case, it's just marking sensei as being the subject of the sentence. How about you? Do you find sushi edible? But in this case, the ga is just being marked as the thing that you're asking. Is it edible? That's why it's not wa. Yeah. But yeah, by all means, think of it as a subclause.
So they are both really subjects in their own position.
I guess so. I mean, if you're confused, do this.
I'll just keep it at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sensei wa, as for you, sensei wa sushi ga taberaremasu ka? And then we've only got one topic. Good. And one subject. Good.
Andy, just to be sure, because I'm talking about it this week, when we have the potential form, it's always ga. We can use that as a guideline. Eh?
Yes, that is if it is a transitive verb. So, for example, can you go to the office? Are you able to go to the office? Jimsho ni ikimasu ka? There is no ga here, of course, because this is an intransitive verb. So there's no object in this sentence. We would only use ga, there being a transitive sentence, a transitive verb, because you want to change the object into the subject of it. So can you make what's the word for a frame, Jock? Is it ekake?
Ekakubuchi.
Ekakebuchi. So, for example, Jock Sensei wa ekakebuchi ga tsukuremasu ka? So this is basically saying, as for Jock, it sounds funny. If Jock, if you were involved in this, is a frame makeable? Basically,
yes.
Yeah. As for you, is a frame doable? Is it doable? There you go. That's the way of looking at it. But of course, tsukuru is a transitive verb, meaning there is an object in the sentence. Yeah. But we turn the object normally sits next to a verb. We turn the object into a subject and say, as for Jock Sensei, as for you, are frames, there we have a subject, makeable. It's not saying will you make a frame? It's saying are frames makeable? Subclause by you. Yeah.
Sorry, Andy. Ekaku.
Oh, ekaku.
Ekaku.
Ekakubuchi. Thank you. Ekakubuchi.
Eokaku.
Ah.
And fuchi just means a surround.
Ah, okay. Right. Ekakubuchi.
Like fuchi kashira.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, the bit that goes around the bottom.
Yeah, gotcha.
Fuchi.
Can I ask something? But I'm afraid I'm treading a bit on thin ice there. Is there in both sentences, like the Jock Sensei wa all this thing ka, which is a question, and the other one with the sensei, when we use the wa, is it direct speech? Are we talking directly to them? Because we translate it as for Jock Sensei. So am I asking Jock Sensei, or am I talking to a third person about him with a question?
So actually this would be, in both cases, it would be the same sentence. So I might be speaking to Jock directly and saying, Jock Sensei wa ekakubuchi ga tsukuraremasu ka? Or I could be saying, how about Jock? Could he make a frame?
That's my question.
The sentence would be exactly the same.
Okay.
The sentence exactly the same. Yeah.
If only they had a word for you when they speak.
But that's an added vocabulary that we don't want to use, right?
I think that's the main point, that you don't say you and you don't say anything. And if you say anything, you say a name or a title, but basically just you don't say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you could think about like speaking of somebody and there is another sentence. And it's a completely different sentence, but the whole two together makes it together.
Yeah. I mean, for example, Effie, just to go back to your question, if I was talking to Jock directly, that's what I would say. Jock would know that I was talking to him because my eyeballs would be pointing in his direction, you see. Yeah, it could be. But if I wanted to ask him, are ekakubuchi generally makeable? Then what would I say? Good question. If I
Wouldn't
wasn't
it,
being... Huh?
Yeah, sorry. Wouldn't it be good to change the ga to a wa?
Exactly. Well done. Yeah. This means generally are frames makeable? Not by anybody in particular, just are they makeable?
He's onto something.
So if you define the with va for whom you, I mean, about whom you're talking or something like that, so that makes, especially for him, and indeed it's what you said, that you can use it as direct speech and indirect.
Exactly.
I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. But
No, you're absolutely right. So if I left this as ga and I just turned it into Anikoa, then it makes her the subject of this task. Sorry, makes her the topic of this task of making frames or drinking whiskey. Yeah. Everybody happy?
Ecstatic.
I think.
And maybe also that the va part you can just have hidden, like you don't. That's why sometimes it's only a ga, because there is a va part, it's just not said or written.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't always have. If the context is understood, you don't need to keep stating the context. If I look at Jock and say, "E kakubuchi ga tsukura arimasu ka?" it's clear that he is the person I'm asking if he can make one. Yeah. Guys, I guess one of the problems is, and there's nobody here in this group now that I would say, I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. I'm not, everybody in this class with this group here understand is of the same kind of level here. The problem now is that we're getting to a point where in the grammar study that if we try to convert this into our own languages, we're going to start running into problems. And we almost have to say, it's just a rule. It's just a process. Let's just follow this procedure and then we'll be speaking Japanese. But if we at the very beginning, it was quite easy for us to convert it into our own language and say, this is the equivalent of this. But you can probably understand that as you get deeper and deeper into Japanese, there aren't these equivalents. Yeah. We can't do this kind of direct translation because we'll just run into problems. That there are other parts of the Japanese language where you can't convert it into English, and there are obviously some parts of English that you can't convert into Japanese. A bit like the Tom Kim in Dutch, the difference between the imperative and the obligative. I understand from Luke that these are almost the same thing in Dutch. So please do this and you must do this. Yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah, they both use you must. Right.
Well, if you say, could you do this or please do this, you would literally say, could you do, rather than you must do.
Right.
But when you try to explain, you should do this to accomplish something, or you have to do this in the imperative, you would use the same form with must.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
So I would now start to think of these chapters in the grammar as being functions. Just think of them as being, right, if I want to achieve this communication, I just use this. Try not to translate directly from your own language into Japanese. Try and think about the intention that you've got, or the image of what there is, and then create this into Japanese. All of you are on this position now. It's not like, I know that there's different levels within this group, but you can all do it, and you all should you should all do it. You shouldn't start translating. You shouldn't make the sentence in your mind in your own language and then try and translate it exactly. It's better to think about the sentiment of what you're saying and start to create functions. Yeah. Cheers. Teia-san, 今日は何をしましたか? 仕事大変でしょう。日曜日なのに、
そうですね。
というのは、 今日職場にいたんですか？
職場。
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 Take a guess what this means. 職場。
職場。
Wayne? Or Patrick? Or Andre?
Place to eat.
I wish. 職場。
Is it the buff form?
No.
A form of meal.
Oh,
Evening meal.
Working place.
Workplace.
Place of work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is this is the right kanji, is it, guys? Wayne, Patrick, Andre?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Place of work. Yeah. So previously we used the word shigoto ni ikimasu ka? Are you going to work? Or kaisha ni ikimasu ka? But kaisha means company, and you don't all work for a company. Some of you work for universities. Some of you work for brothels, which you couldn't really say as a company. So I'm looking at Joseph now when I say that.
Hey, don't give me
sensei.
So, but place of work can be used for anything. It can be used for an office, for an institution, for a university. You can just say shokuba.
Shigotoba.
Or shigotoba, yeah. Shigotoba. Exactly, yeah. じゃあ今日テヤさん職場に行ったんですか？
Yep.
家で
家で仕事をします。
仕事をします？
うん。
これから仕事をしますか？今仕事をしてますか？
はい。
今日本語を知ってるでしょ？
はい、でも聞いて。
聞
いてだけ。
そうか。なるほど。
すみません。
いいですよ。
でも、それは、にがは、それはちょっと
難しい？
大変でしょ？
大変。うん。Yeah. It's kind of funny. I can assure you that within 6 months now we've been doing this. I guess within a year, maybe we won't all be vaccinated within a year, but within a year, I'm pretty sure, guys, that you won't be thinking that particles are difficult. But please trust me, everybody thinks particles are difficult at the beginning of Japanese. There are entire textbooks on just using particles, just trying to understand particles. But it's only a period. You'll overcome this, I promise you. Yeah. And then you'll be more worried about saying things like, oops, sorry. 助けられましたっけ? I mean, what? Exactly, a ke?
Ke wa nani?
Ke means, is that it? Is that what it was? But let me just return to another sentence I asked you just now, Taya, which was shokuba ni ita n desu ka? This is how we're going to.
That's like a thing of being at work.
Yeah. So I'm actually this
sort
should
of
be
a subject.
Sorry, this should be itan desu ka? Like
Itan.
So none of you, I don't think, or I haven't taught this in the class at all. So for some of you, this might be absolutely new. And this isn't a formal teaching now. This is just a little taste into itan. If any of you managed to get hold of Shin Nihon no Kiso Book 2 grammar by any chance? You have it, Annika? Is that book 2? Oh, cool. If you turn towards the last chapter, or it might be the penultimate chapter, there is a section on and not. Is it there? I think it's in book 2. Is that the German version or the English version? English. No.
English. And which lesson?
It's either the last lesson or the second from last lesson. Is it? Sorry, is that the grammar book? It is the grammar book, isn't it?
This is the grammar book, yes.
Yeah. I thought that the last or the second from last was the des and nodes. Is that not the case?
One moment.
It's okay. Shokuba ni itan desu. Schneller, Annika, schneller!
I don't find it.
Okay, I'll try and find it later, and I'll do a naughty and copy and paste it into Facebook. So this is basically a short way of saying another sentence, which is equally confusing. Ni ita no desu ka? Okay, now let's just break this down a little bit. This is the sentence that you all know. Okay, Kim? Yeah. Okay, so this means did you go to the workplace? Of course. Okay, pretty easy. But I was having a conversation with Taya, and she said I was working all day. And then I said, did you go to the office? Or did you go to the workplace? Now, this doesn't look unusual, does it? This is fairly easy to understand. But I was working all day. If you just say shokuba ni ikimashita ka, this is a little bit like saying, did you just eat a box of chocolates? If you say it like shokuba ni ikimashita ka, in that it seems irrelevant. It seems like it's like there's no connection between what Taya just said and what I then asked. But if I put shokuba ni itan desu ka? Or itan no desu ka? This means a bit like saying, oh, in that case, did you go to the office? Did you go to the workplace? That's what putting it into this form does. It kind of the sentence that's given is trying to explain itself in the context of the way that in the place that it's put. So it's a little bit like saying
I see.
Yeah, a little bit like this, but it's more like saying this. Is that what it was? It's a bit like slipping this into the sentence. Oh, I went to work. Oh, did you go into the university then? Instead of just saying, did you go to the university? Like this.
Are you making shokuba no ita, which would be did you go to the you went to the workplace, and then take that as a subclause and then add no to make that a noun, and then deska as in that is the thing that
yes
was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's probably a better way of writing that. Let's now do it retrospectively though. Oh. So did you go to the office, to the workplace? In fact, yeah, sorry, that I think is probably the best way of explaining what itan no desu ka. So, did you go to the workplace? Whereas if I just said shokuba ni ikimashita ka, it would be just like saying, did you go to the workplace?
Then it's kind of confirming you get the first sentence and then ask the next question.
Right, exactly. It connects the sentences together. It's saying, Taya said, I was working all day, and then I'm saying, oh, if you worked all day, then did you spend all day in the office? Did you go to the office today on Sunday? It's kind of making it contextual. It's giving you some kind of reasoning for asking the question. Whereas just saying shokuba ni ikimashita ka is just a very, very plain sentence. Annika?
So instead of asking question after question, that you combine them in a natural speaking, or?
Yeah.
So like filling words to not make it just too plain, just asking question after question.
Right, exactly, yeah. Yes, yeah, sorry, yeah, you're absolutely right. If you just said shokuba ni ikimashita ka, it sounds disconnected from the topic that's being discussed. It can be sounded like just a list of kind of disconnected questions, whereas putting it this way is saying, oh, so did you go to the office? Rather than did you go to the office? Which just sounds like a question, fairly disconnected from what the person just said.
I worked all day. On another note, did you go to the office?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if we're writing it, then, or if we're saying it formally, if we're being polite, then it would be better to stick to this shokuba ni ita no desu ka. This is perfectly polite. It's not kind of being pointed or anything. It's just saying, so you went to the office. You were in the workplace today then. But this in conversation, rather than saying no, then what people often say is they make this at the end of the plain form of the verb. This could be, doesn't have to be in the past tense. So for example, can I take this off the slide a second, guys? Yeah. Ashita. 買い物をしようと思います。Okay, so you guys tell me how to respond to this statement. Somebody says to you, 明日買い物をしようと思います。And to give you a clue, the nearby shopping capital is Tokyo.
どこ?
Yeah.
Would you say
quite? どこ?
どこに行くんですか?
どこに行くんですか? Very good. Yeah. どこに行くんですか? So where are you going?
So who is Ikun?
Ikun means Mr. Stomach.
I thought that might be our new character, but
Ikun.
Or here's another context. Whoever's in your house, you see them putting on their coat and grabbing their umbrella, and you don't know why they're going out. Then you could say, どこに行くんですか? Because it's not the same way as saying, it's not the same thing as saying, どこに行きますか? Can you kind of see the difference?
Not without a prior sentence. That you're trying. Is it because you're trying to relate to what it is they're doing at the moment you're asking?
Yeah, in this case, yeah. You know, so I mean, who lives with somebody here? Does anybody not live with somebody? Does everybody have somebody in their house with them? Not you, Piotr. Okay.
Me neither.
You neither. Okay. Imagine have you got any pets?
No.
Oh. Okay. You have to imagine you're spending, perhaps you're on a holiday with somebody, and or you're in the house with somebody that you live with, and then out of the blue at 9 o'clock in the evening on a Sunday night when the shops are closed and it's raining outside, they start putting on their coat. If you just say "Doku ni ikimasu ka?" it means oh, it means where. Is that better? It means where will you go? Which is a kind of funny thing to say to somebody. Oh, where will you go? It's like you're not kind of surprised at the fact they're putting a coat on at 9 o'clock in the evening on a Sunday when it's raining outside. But if you say "Doku ni ikun desu ka?" it means where are you going?
But wouldn't you rather say "Doko ni itteimasu ka?"
This means where are you going? But again, it's just a flat question. The answer they'll give to you is
out.
Exactly, yeah, away from you.
Well, I can't argue with that. So yeah.
But if you say "Doku ni ikun desu ka?" it means it's actually asking for a kind of explanation in this case, because this no desu ka is being put into a question. It's asking, like, where the fuck are you going on a Sunday night, rather than where are you going? Where are you going to now? Yeah, it's kind of putting the sentence in context.
Andy, then I think a few weeks ago we also saw kana to say that. Oh, I wonder what's the difference when you then ask "Dono imasu ka kana?" I wonder where you're going.
Yeah, so you said
that's different.
It is different.
It's very different.
It is very different. It's I wonder where you're going, but it's too late. They're walking out the door.
Yeah,
possibly with a divorce in mind. Yeah. I wonder where you're going. So this "Doku ni ikimasu ka?" doesn't actually require an answer. It's basically a statement of you wondering.
Yeah, they're already outside of the door.
Yeah, yeah. But this isn't actually, although this has got "Doku ni ikimasu ka?" in it, by putting "na" on the end, it doesn't create a question mark. It's basically saying, oh, I wonder where they're going. But it's not actually pointing the question at them.
Isn't it just general wondering about
Yes,
things?
pretty much. In fact, putting "na" at the end is like a rhetoric question or a rhetoric statement. You don't require an answer. It's you saying, oh, I wonder. Yeah.
So it's like you're talking to yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you can shape that sentence to make it clear that you're asking somebody by the way that you say it. You know, I see Piotr doing the kitsuke, and the kisaki's like half a meter below his right hand, and I say, "Doko ni kitteru kana?" I wonder where you're cutting. But it's obviously a question. Where the hell are you cutting? But actually, nani o kitte irun desu ka? What are you cutting? Which is different to "nani o kitte imasu ka?" The grammar, the literal meaning is not so different. It's just the implied meaning is different. This means "nani o kitte desu ka?" means where the hell are you cutting? Kind of. And this means where are you cutting?
Andy?
Yeah.
And can you not just put "no" on the end? Doku ni ikuno.
So "doku ni ikuno" only means "doku ni ikimasu ka?" It doesn't actually put that because it's pretty strange you're going out now when it's raining outside and it's a Sunday night. That's what the "ikun desu ka?" turns that into.
Dochire.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the more you clip off the sentence, the more that you can kind of imply that there's something strange happening, or there's some context that's not being mentioned. Yeah, but by putting this, I mean, just to keep it on this formal level for now, this level of politeness that makes it usable. By putting doko ni iku no desu ka is kind of implying there's some context that either you don't understand or is strange. Yes. Yeah. I mean, your partner arrives home with her clothes or his clothes kind of all a bit messy and lipstick smudged across her face or his face. I'm not particular. And he said, "Doku ni itta no? Doku ni itta no desu ka? Doku ni itta no da ka? Where have you been?" Yeah, this is the difference between just saying the sentence in basic grammatical form and implying that there's some kind of context that's either there, you know it, or you don't know it, depending on the way you say it, depending on if it's a sentence or a statement.
So that is the difference also with the cutting sentences. It's really because there is more context. You're not just asking neutrally what is it you're cutting literally, but you're asking for context. Is that
yeah, basically. So take the example of you doing with your kiseki down here. If I say nani o kitte imasu ka, then your answer would be me, because that's the answer, isn't it?
That's the intended cut.
Yeah, exactly. But actually, I'm not actually asking you where you're cutting. I'm saying, where the hell do you think you're cutting?
Well, that would still be me.
But you would kind of understand from my question that something is not. I'm not just simply asking what's the intended target. I'm asking you, where the hell are you cutting, man?
There's also an intended meaning to what you're saying.
Right.
You're not just asking the questions. You're also providing context with the question?
Implying a context. Exactly. You are implying a context. Yeah.
What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, in the book, which Annika was searching through just now, if you, at some point, Annika, if you find the section on undes and nodes, you'll say that there's a warning in there to say, be careful how you use this, because you are implying a context. And if you use this sentence carelessly, you could be implying a context that the person who's listening to you doesn't understand why you're implying a context. So, for example, if you went into a restaurant with your teacher and you said, "Nani o taberu no desu ka?" It's like saying, "What are you eating?" But you like implying, "I just saw you eating 5 minutes ago. What are you eating now?" So you have to be a little bit careful about using it, but it is useful rather than just saying, like I said to Taya, did you go to the office? It's implying there's a context that is unspoken in the sentence you're saying or the question that you're asking. Yeah.
But then in the example with Taya, you referred to previous context. You weren't creating the context, were you?
Right, so let's just have a quick look.
Good. She said, "I worked all day," and then you say, "Have you been to the office?" Then.
So you actually said "shigoto o shimasu," but I think you meant "shigoto o shite imasu," right? I'm working today. And I said, "shokuba ni."
Well, I'm working now even, but it doesn't matter.
Ima. Shokuba ni itta no desu ka? Sorry, can you ask the question again? Because I've just got myself lost after two-thirds of the bottle.
You just said that asking the question creates context as well. Yeah. But in this case, you're referring to previous context.
Right, yeah.
Asking the question would have...
Yeah, exactly. So if I only said shokuba ni ikimashita ka, this doesn't really create that link between this question and this sentence. Yeah. If I say shokuba ni itta no desu ka, it means, oh, you work today, so did you go into the office? Is that Taya? Is that what you're saying? You're saying you worked all day. Are you saying that you went into the office? that's the difference between shokuba ni ita no desu ka and shokuba ni ikimashita ka. If I only say shokuba ni ikimashita ka, all I'm saying is, did you go into the office? And Teo can say, yeah, yesterday. But that's nothing to do with what I'm talking about today.
So related to this, because you're using the polite form ikimashita, but then in the desu ka you use itta. So
yeah.
would that be less polite? Would it be comparable to shokuba ni itta ka or itta no, or is it really just the form that because it's a subclause?
Yeah. If I was going to make this impolite, then I would say that. Or a little bit more direct, itan desu ka. This is a little bit less polite than itan no desu ka. It's a bit more colloquial.
Is it colloquial or is it just fast?
It's a bit more casual, between, like the difference between saying it is not and it isn't. But perhaps a little bit more. It's a little bit more. Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more different than just saying it isn't and it is not. Yeah, it's a little bit more direct. Yeah. If you keep it as past, sorry, let's just do this. Maybe there's some subjects, maybe. And maybe there's some objects, maybe. And no, let's not add topics. And then there's a particle, probably. And then there's a verb. And if you then finish it with no desu ka, then you'll never come across as being a little bit too direct. But as I said, even putting no desu ka is implying a context. So just be a little bit careful how you use it. Because you are saying, because, like after the end of the question or after the end of the sentence. Yeah. I'm asking this question because you just said that you went to that you're working all day. That's what you're implying by saying ita no desu ka.
And this has nothing to do with the desu ga form, I assume. Stein desu ga.
So that's the same kind of thing. So, for example, ice cream o tabetai desu ga. So let's look at the difference between these two sentences. Let's mark these up so that we're clear. 1. What does number 1 mean, do you think? Any guesses?
I'd like ice cream, but?
Yeah. What does this one mean?
I just want ice cream.
Yeah, I would like ice cream.
So the first implies there's coming something after it. You want to say more?
You're just not gonna eat it.
Yeah. I'd like ice cream, but I've just eaten 1 liter of ice cream. It could be the other.
But I've just stolen Andy Sensei's last sushi.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then that's just the difference with the ga, because you could also say ice cream wo tabetai desu ga ippai desu.
Yeah, so usually sorry, this is the meaning of this one. Hang on a second. You could just say this and it would mean the same thing. If you said ice cream wo tabetai desu, ice cream wo tabetai desu, or アイスクリーム食べたいのです. And then you don't have to finish it with anything. You can just leave it at that, and it means, oh, I'd like ice cream, but there isn't any, or I'm technically diabetic. Or
this again implies context.
Yeah,
that is not necessarily
exactly.
Okay.
I'd like an ice cream, but I'm just about to do my 7th dan grading. Yeah. Shouldn't really eat ice cream before grading.
Desquerido.
Yeah, or desquerido. So that, yeah, exactly. You can either you can do it like this, and in that case, you probably don't need that. You don't need the no in this case. Yeah, desquerido mo. Implies there's a further context that's not spoken. Yeah.
Dakedo.
Or dakedo. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to make it less less formal.
Less polite.
Dakedo.
Keredo.
Yeah, or keredo, also fine. Yeah. Yeah, in fact you don't need kedo. Tabetai kedo. Yeah, or keredo. These are all possibilities to make it less or more polite. Yeah. So I mean, I only jumped into this, guys, because as you probably realized by now, Japanese is very contextual, and there's a lot of unspoken stuff. And this is where now we need to start thinking about how to fill in the blanks that are not spoken in Japanese. At some point, maybe not for a couple of months, probably not until 2021, we'll look at this in a little bit more detail in the actual formal week classes. But it's good now to start looking at this as you are the kind of actually the conversation class this evening, to sort of know what this means when you hear it. That it's an implied context. Annika, dozo.
I found it, but it's the first lesson.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought there was. Oh, right. Okay, that's interesting. I thought it was pretty much towards the end because it was kind of like an advanced Japanese bit.
You started at the back.
Annika, is the book upside down? Whew, right.
I think there's just two chapters, so it's the penultimate chapter, but yeah.
Yeah. I think, because I don't think there's a Shin Nihongo no Kiso part 3, but this is one of the harder parts of, I'd say, grammar, but it's not really the grammar, it's really the art of the spoken Japanese. It's a little bit difficult to grasp. But it's important because it does mean something if somebody says it. It's not just meaning nani o kirimasu ka is different to nani o kitterun desu ka. These are two different meanings. Yeah. Andre, Hong Kong はどうですか?
香港はちょっと危険です。
そう？どうしてですか? COVID ですから？
はい、ちょっと、はい、COVID、コロナに打った人が、今週は増えました。
あ、そうですか。急に。
はい。
ああ。
急に増えました。
あ、そう。原因がありますか？理由がありますか？
わかりません。
あ、そう。
はい、わかりません。
多分、ワクチンのニュースが配れて、みんなが、安全ですね。そして普通の生活に戻ったかな？
はい、そう思います。けど、ここの人は、このワクチンのことが信じられません。
信じられない人いますか？
はい。
まあ、ヨーロッパもそうでしょう、ね。
効果がありますかどうかわかりません。
それは中国の政府が信じられないわけですか？
はい、そうです。
なるほどね。
ちょっと危ない。ここは香港ですよ。
そうかな。はい。 捕まらないように気をつけてね。
警察が多分私たちの会話を聞いています。
なるほど。OK。
多分そうです。
少し話を変えましょう。チェックも同じ問題があるみたいですよ。政府があまり信じられませんから、ワクチンが本気に使えるかどうか信じられない人が多いです。
はい。
What's it called? コンスピラシーセオリーを信じる人が多いです。チェック。
それだけ？ハンガリーはなんかワクチンがラッシャから来るかたんな。ラッシャのワクチン、ラッシャのワクチンが、ガバメントはラッシャのワクチンを買いたいから、みんなは、それ、
いらない。
やだ。
そっか。それはハンガリーの政府が信じられないか、ロシアが信じられないか。
そう。
どっちでしょうか？
ラッシャが信じられない。だからワクチンも信じられない。
そうか。でも、テアさん、スパトニックのワクチンが本当に影響があるかどうか知ってます
か？知らない。
知らないかわからないとどっちですか？
知らない。
知らない。
そのワクチンは
誰も知らない。
誰が知らない。
ロシアの外の大学か、学会がなんていうの、スパトニックが本当に効くかどうか研究されてないかな、まだ。わからないね。ピョーさん、最後の文章ってわかりましたか？最後の文章。私の最後の言ったこと。
まあ。ちょっとわかりました。
ロシアの外の大学か。Oh, this is guys.
学会 is research, no?
So actually means it means one of two things, and you have to be careful which one you go in for because you might end up having your money taken off you. It means institutions, but also means a cult.
Oh, okay.
So you have to be a bit careful. So lots of the weird Buddhist cults finish with gakai, don't they, Joe?
As in Soka.
Yeah.
Soka gakai, yeah.
Yeah. As we know from some of our friends.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a few people that you know, guys, that you all know who are into this kind of thing.
That's what you get when you're a Nanadan sensei.
It's not me. Sputnik ga hiku ka douka. Should be ni kenkyu sarete inai. Okay, so guys, just as a finisher tonight, just that we've actually done some work that we can talk about. Let's see, Tobe, have a crack at this one. Any sort of individual words you don't know, just ask, because it's vocabulary. There is some new vocabulary here.
Okay, so outside Russia.
Good.
University of Gakai, you said cults.
Actually, in this case, I meant institution.
It is okay. Institution, university.
So if I put "ka" between these, what does that "ka" mean? So that's a noun. Sorry, that's a noun, and that's a noun. I put "ka" between them, so this means.
And?
Nearly.
Or.
Yeah, exactly.
Or.
Yeah. Institution. So you express or.
So it's okay. Yeah, I see. Then we have Sputnik. That I knew. Heard or dog. I'm a little bit lost here. It's
okay. So
Kiku to listen.
So this is a different Kiku actually. So there's this is one Wayne, Andre, Patrick. If you're still there. Oh, Andre, you're still on. You might have to help me here.
Effect.
Yeah, it's the one which means to work or to have an effect. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one, is it? Is it? Oops, is it this one?
Yep, this one. This one.
This one.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you. So if you look at this one in your dictionaries, guys. So it's Kiku. Yeah. So it means to be effective. Yeah, to take effect. Yeah, exactly.
Let's see, Dorka somehow.
Right. So if you ask a question like this one, Sputnika, let's just use a slightly different one. Tokyo ni iku ka douka. So if you form a sentence like this, again, just try and see this as a function. Don't worry too much about what it literally means. But this means whether or not somebody, let's call them X, will go to Tokyo. So if you say, put this into the plain form, the verb into the plain form, but kadoka, this means whether or not. Whether or not. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so whether or not the Sputnik
yeah.
Would can you
So Toby, just to help here.
Hi.
Remember this is a subclause here. So this means if I put Sputnik ga kiku kadoka, actually treat that as a subclause, Toby.
Okay.
What does that mean? Sputnik ga kiku kadoka.
Whether Sputnik I'm stuck here. If Sputnik, maybe.
Weather is fine. But
okay.
What's Kiku?
Yeah, right. How would it be?
So remember, this means is effective or works or has an effect.
Okay, but I'm a little bit confused on how to use the whether if it functions.
This is what the sentence means: whether Sputnik is effective or not.
Yeah, if it works.
Yeah, whether Sputnik works or not. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But the grammar that's being used is whether and then or not. So this is what this kadoka means.
Okay.
Something will happen or not, whether you go to Tokyo or not, whether you eat sushi or not. Something taberu kadoka, iku kadoka, kiku kadoka.
Okay. Okay. Then we have Kenkyu. I have no clue at all.
Kenkyu means research.
Research.
Yeah.
Okay. Research will be done.
Yeah. So what's the form that's being used? So kenkyu suru would be the normal direct way of expressing to do research. But this is so it makes make it easier on you. Sarete iru kana?
There will be research done.
Yeah, this is in the passive form, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's saying this subclause, whether Sputnik is effective or not, is it's being researched.
Is it okay? Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
And then I put kana at the end, which means
I think.
I wonder.
Maybe. I wonder.
Guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I guess. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's like again, it's a rhetoric question. I wonder if it's being researched.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what this means.
Kenkyu is long. Kenkyu.
Kenkyu, yeah, sorry, yeah, exactly. Kenkyu, yeah, correct. Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm thinking of going to eat my urbazone. Any questions about this evening?
Which is cold right now.
Well, apparently it's supposed to be allowed to cool down a little bit before you eat it. You shouldn't really eat it hot because the cabbage leaves will be not quite crispy.
Mm.
Oh, so you did not just turn off the oven and then leave it in the oven for it to become even more crispy?
I did actually, yeah. I did leave it in the oven. I'm hoping it's going to be kind of nice and just
charred.
Yeah, charred. I did turn the oven off.
So, Sensei, earlier on we were talking about, well, actually, exactly the way of making, and you spoke of what was it, the no kata or surikata. Has this been covered in one of the lessons?
No, it's been covered at a Sunday evening session.
Okay, yeah.
And I think I actually sort of introduced it on a couple of the weekday lessons, but not as a formal lesson.
Okay, just checking. Thank you.
Sure. I should probably do it as a lesson with a few other bits as well, because it's so kind of, it's easy, isn't it? It's mass form plus kata. Yeah.
I remembered it, so it should be easy.
Cool. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank
you. Matane.
Looking forward to Tom on Tuesday.
Yes. It will be simple.
It's good. Looking forward to it, Tom. Should be fun.
That's how you say.
And I put some fun things in it, so.
Ooh. Involving Kenji and Rieko.
Is it going to be karai?
The word karai comes in it, but.
Ooh. You are so sweet. Ciao, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Night. Take care.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Ciao.